Good day and welcome to another episode of The Couch Coach. In studio tonight, we've got people that make orange look really funky. We have the Ommiedraai Racing Club with us. We have Shamir.
Nice.
Welcome to the show. Wasfi. And
Thank you,
Kashfa. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Let's start with Shamir here. I think you are Ommiedraai. Who is Ommiedraai and what are you guys all about?
Well, Coach, it's indeed a great privilege and honor for us to be here as part of your program.
It's an honor.
Ommiedraai Friends Athletic Club, what an amazing story to tell, you know. We started off, you know, traversing and meandering the beautiful mountains surrounding the Cape Peninsula in particular. That means we were hiking almost every week.
Nice.
Up till the point 2003, we adopted the name Ommiedraai. And then in 2008, the hikers wanted to do something extra, meaning they wanted to do some boot camping and training and running around and walking around and, you know, doing lots of other exercises. And we then decided, okay, let's meet at Chaka Road. And from there, it just evolved. You know, we had my sister in particular. She's our current coach, but she was also involved in a program with sports science and a running program. And I said to her, Mush, why don't you take us through the steps? And lo and behold, she took us through the steps, and within a year, we did our first race.
Nice.
Which was the Hohenwood 15 kilometer, and then the bug just bit. And those that participated, which was roughly about 25 hikers, they just wanted to run week in and week out. Now, if you are not with an official club, then you pay what is called a temporary license to participate in an event. Now that can be quite costly. And then they insisted that we should have our own, you know, our own club. Although there were other clubs in the surroundings, you know, they were very persuasive. And it rests on my shoulders for whatever reason. And I packaged everything, and obviously the name became the Ommiedraai Friends Athletic Club. So 2010, the 12th of April 2010, we were not fully accredited, but we got our probationary period acceptance from WPA. And so the 12th of April 2010, we basically started officially. You know.
As a running club. That's amazing. And how strong are you guys now?
Well, look, I mentioned 25. We started off with 25. Our actual registration the first year, 2010, was up to about 75 runners.
Wow.
Currently, we're close to just under 475 runners.
Wow, that's amazing.
So
kudos to you.
It's so overwhelming, but it's also very, very gratifying. You know, that is something that we are doing that is right. And but it also says to us the trend in the larger community, the trend to a healthy lifestyle. So Ommiedraai Friends Athletic Club is only one of about 5 or 7 community-linked clubs that started off now, you know, after 2010, put it that way, you know.
So Wasfi, if I can come to you briefly, what sort of areas do you guys cover? Or your athletes, where do they come from?
So we're based in Kenilworth, which is opposite Kenilworth Centre. So initially started at Chaka Road, as Coach Shamir said. I think what he failed to say is that how the name actually came about is interesting as well. Because he used to take the guys hiking, I think, when did he say 2006, right? And whenever they went on a walk, he used to tell them it's
Ommiedraai.
Yeah, you know, we just going for an hour out to something. Then they asked him, hoe ver nog, Coach Shamir? And he says, net Ommiedraai. Every time was net Ommiedraai, and that's how the name Ommiedraai actually came. But coming back to your question, so we're based in Kenilworth, so most of our runners, I think, come from Kenilworth, Kenwyn. Some of them come from Mitchells Plain. We even got runners in Kuils River as well, but I think the bulk of them probably southern suburbs.
Okay.
And then a few, I think we've got a few in the Strand as well. So it's a broad spectrum of Western Cape.
Really diverse.
Yeah, really, yeah. And like Uncle Shamir said, it's grown immensely. I think we doubled up from last year almost. I think. Yeah. So, and I think it talks to the fact that running is becoming so big. I think in the Western Cape itself, you know. So And I think Ommiedraai has got something that we're presenting to the runners, so, and they're happy with Ommiedraai, so why they're all coming to Ommiedraai.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Kashifa, in terms of what's your involvement at the club?
So I joined the club about 6 years ago, and I was introduced by a friend of mine, and Ommiedraai is infectious. It's just got this whole caring and sharing. You know, people in the club, they talk about you run to eat, which generally is, you know, what it's about. And then I sort of took so passionately to this club that when they asked me, Kashifa, there's a position on the executive to become race secretary, and I jumped at the opportunity because it's not it wasn't an executive that where there's silos and everybody's just doing their own thing. It's really caring and sharing. Everybody works together. When there's something to be done, we all do it together. There's passion in it. It gets done. And on the day, it shows that there was effort put into what was planned.
I must say, I mean, I dabble in a bit of running myself, and seeing the spirit that comes from the Ommiedraai people, the Gees, it's amazing. Now, you touched on something there. And I believe you're the race director. So
Yes.
just very briefly, we got about 2 minutes before we have to go to break.
Okay.
What's this race about?
So we've got, we're on the WPA calendar, so we're one of their races.
The WPA is the
Western Province Athletics, yeah. So we're associated, affiliated to Western Province Athletic. So they've got a race, I think, every weekend, sometimes Saturday, sometimes even Saturday and Sunday. So we've been on the calendar since 2014 when we first hosted our first 10-kilometer road race. So we've been doing that now. This is with our 6th race since we started. 2017 we actually won the Western Province Athletics Road Race of the Year.
Nice.
So that was phenomenal. Yeah. I joined the race committee in 2016 as the start-finish coordinator.
Okay.
And then I think with 2017, 2018 I was the race director, and now this is the 3rd year that I'm race director. So it just means that I get a lot of work to do in terms of organizing the race.
The logistics.
There's some logistics, the administration around it, but we're a great team. So we're a team of about 20 people. So Kashifa's, I think, one of the exco on the race. Angashamir is on there as well, and then we've got start-finish, we've got the marshalling, etc. So there's a number of portfolios
that needs to be full.
Yeah, it's
so
quite
I'd like to chat about that a little more, but we have some bills to pay.
Okay.
Please join us in a few. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Couch Coach, and in studio we have Orange is the New Black, the guys from Ommiedraai. So before the break, you were touching onto your race. It's the 6th year now?
It is the 6th year, so this year it is on the 8th of September, Sunday. It starts at 7 o'clock, so we've got...
Will there be Kusistas?
There will be lots of Kusistas there, yes, definitely. It's not a Kusista race, but there will be Kusistas. It's a serious race. Well, we've got, we're hosting a 10-kilometer run, we're hosting a 10-kilometer walk as well, and then a 5-kilometer fun run.
Nice.
So, yeah, so I think everyone's welcome. Bring the family. It's a fun day out. There's lots of vendors, lots of things to buy, food to eat, etc. So you don't have to make food. You moet je maar afvat voor die dag. Come, bring the family, bring the kids, and then have fun.
It's a family day.
Do some activity for the day and get a bite to eat as well.
Kashifa, for those out there, I mean, you hear it a lot. I mean, how much time do I have to do this? Is there a cutoff on your race?
Yes. The race starts at 7, as was said, and then at 8:45 is the cutoff.
Okay.
So, but you know, we're not going to be that strict.
Fairly flexible.
Yeah, we're flexible. If there's 1 or 2 runners on the road still and they want to finish, as long as they finish it on the sidewalk, that kind of thing. Because we need to clear the road by 8:45.
Okay. So in terms of logistics around there,
yeah, massive. The logistics are massive. We can attest to that. We have a director of marshalling. Marshalling alone takes us about 140 people.
Wow.
Must be on the road. And Kashiva actually just had a meeting with traffic, with the Inspectorate of Traffic, and then, you know, we have sector heads. The whole route is broken up into 4 sectors.
Correct.
And each sector will have a sector head, and he or she will then have different marshals under him or her on the whole route, you know, that will make up 140. So that will include the route of both the 10K walkers and runners, as well as the 5 kilometer runners, walkers, and, you know, social participants, put it that way. So that in itself, it's an enormous task to mobilize 140 people for that day. It's quite an arduous task. And on the day, there's no guarantee that you'll have 140 people. So we have a backup. We always have the, what do they call it? The emergency people from the city of Cape Town.
Disaster management. Yeah.
Disaster management. They usually give us about 30 people, but they like to gravitate just under, in one particular zone, you know.
Midnight
Yes.
Yeah. So from the start, we have this big arches up, you know, with the blowing up the arches, and we have the MCs there and photographers all there lined up in Lock Road, which is quite a tight road, but we've managed now for the past 5 years. So we hope that it will still go well for us at the start. Inshallah. And then from there we will go through the area towards...
so we go up Bowwood Road towards Newlands,
towards Newlands.
So the course details, so to speak?
So it starts, like Uncle Shamir said, it starts just outside Rosmead Cricket Ground, in between Rosmead and Casey, which is Lock Road. Goes down Lock Road, and then it goes through Garfield Road into the residential area there, Claremont. And then it goes kind of past Livingston High School. I don't know if you know where Livingston is. Goes past Livingston High School, up Bowwood Road towards Newlands, and then Newlands Avenue. There's a nice hill there on top of Newlands Avenue. So we, it's actually famous for, in Ommiedraai race, it's called the King. We've got something called the King and Queen of the Hill. So this year we've got that sponsored actually by Fastron. So it's called the Fastron King and Queen of the Hill. And they've upped the prize money for the first person who summits that hill.
How do you become king or queen?
So what happens is, it's the first runner, the first male and the first female in the open category, right? Who actually summit the hill. And they have to finish in the top, I think it's top 3 or top 5?
Top 5.
Top 5. So you have to finish, in order to get the prize money, you summit first, but you have to finish in the top 5.
Okay.
And then you're going to get, this year, not 500 Rand as last year, 2,000 Rand.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's 2,000 Rand for the king and 2,000 Rand for the queen.
Awesome.
That's besides the money you're going to win at the end as well.
Yes.
So we've got sponsors like Agiso, etc., Extreme, who also provide funding towards the race. Because it costs a lot to run the race, obviously. So the prize money is quite big.
But you guys have also got, sorry to cut you, also got a bunch of different initiatives as well in terms of promoting your race. I saw something about a car.
Yes, definitely. So we have a Toyota sponsored by Market Toyota. The car is, we started this 3 years ago, where we had the car branded, like most races clubs have the car branded, but we found that how we can market the car and our race was take a selfie. And it must be a selfie because we're very strict about the rules. You can't ask somebody to take the photo for you. There has to be a selfie, and there's a few hashtags that needs to go when you post the selfie. And because that is how we're going to actually pick it up, because we're going to search for that hashtag. So and it has to have both of the hashtags. I don't want to mention the hashtags right now because I might say it wrong, but you can just follow us on Facebook, and then you'll see the competition is on there. And at the race, we'll mention the winner, and the prize will be a getaway for 2.
Nice.
Same as last year.
Okay, a weekend away for 2,
So the self, is anything special or just me and the car?
You and the car. That's it. Yeah, just get yourself in the picture, a selfie, and post it up on our Facebook page, and make sure you have the hashtags.
Okay, so how do we find you on Facebook?
So Ommiedraai.
Ommiedraai and Friends on Facebook. Just do a search for Ommiedraai and Friends on Facebook, and you'll find us.
Ommiedraai and Friends.
Yes.
Ommiedraai and Friends.
Yes, and the selfie need not be at the door or on the bonnet or whatever, or at a particular logo. because the whole car is adorned in
Yes.
the different sponsors.
Yeah.
About how many sponsors?
Quite a few.
Quite a few sponsors we have, you know.
Our work starts long before the 8th of September.
Yes.
Yes, it
very
does.
much.
It does.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
sounds like it.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
Shamik was talking about logistics earlier on. But there's so much more
There's
to
so much more.
traffic and marshalling. There's
Yes.
medics, it's your security, it's the permit itself that has to go into the city of Cape Town. There's other things as well, like that we need to get sorted, like our waste plan, our recycling plan. And the city wants to see all of that for good reason. So there's such a lot that goes into planning an event. It cannot happen overnight. I think we started late this year, but normally we have
but
to
we're on
start.
comrades, remember?
Exactly. Blame it on comrades. Yeah. Blame it on
is
comrades.
somebody showing off over here?
And you must have a fully accredited health and safety officer that is
Correct.
on duty. That person had to go through all your documentation, your waste management plan, your parking plan, your security plan, your vendors plan. For your vendors, you also need to have plans. You have to have SLAs, service level agreements. You know, there's so much, so much that you need to have in place. But having said that, our competence have grown significantly.
I'm sure.
Through our race secretaries. Kashifa is now the third of a line of awesome people that we've had, you know, and everything centers around the race secretary, because that is the person that packaged the whole race for us and do the submission to the city of Cape Town. Our race director is the one that ensures that all those things are in place, you know, for the race secretary to do it, you know. So whilst Kashifa mentioned that we were running a little bit late, she actually submitted the documentation way before, you know, any deadlines.
Correct.
You know?
People.
Yeah.
And then once that submission is made, and then, you know, this all the nitty-gritties can be ironed
Correct,
out,
correct.
whatever. Because we were just confronted, and Kashifa can expound upon that with the land issue.
Yeah, I think sometimes the city comes up, like for the last couple of years, everything's been the same. We've been submitting to the city, and now suddenly they've decided you have to ask permission to use the land. So we're dealing with a slight issue there with the city of Cape Town. Nothing that I think that will hold us back. It's just extra paperwork that needs to happen.
It's just another challenge we'll
Yes.
get over it.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
sure there's many.
There's many
With all
challenges.
these challenges and the logistics, why host the race?
But I mean, while you were talking there, I think we do it for the love of running, right? So we sacrifice a lot of our time. I mean,
Sure.
our partners, our spouses, I mean, they have got a lot of patience, you know, to have with us, because we spend a lot of time in meetings, etc., just to get this going, so that we can host a good race for the running community out there. We do it for the love of running. So, and we get close to about 3,500 to 4,000, say about 3,500 on average every year.
Wow.
And
So we're hoping to get the numbers again this year. It's not a league race, but normally if it's a league race, Western Province League, then you get people attending because you get points on the Coca-Cola League, right? So it's not a league race, but it's still one of the best races, I think, on the calendar for people to come.
And it's highly competitive in this respect that WPA, Western Province Athletics, got 18,500 registered members covering 110 clubs. And of the 110 clubs, there's only 50 clubs that can actually host the races, because the whole calendar is so congested. So for us to have been afforded the opportunity to host something, it's indeed a great privilege for us.
Correct.
So the clubs the clubs that are involved, that are hosting these events, are very committed to ensure that our guests, the runners in particular, are ensured a healthy and an enjoyable outing for the morning.
Awesome.
How much races did you say, Mr. Perez, on the calendar for the year?
No, there's more than 80 races.
Yeah. And we got the Western Province Athletics Race of the Year in
Yeah.
2017.
No, that's well done
Out
to
of
you
80,
guys.
right?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, the race of the
now,
month.
okay, so to get you guys that accolade again, how do people register for this race?
Go for it, Kashifa.
Okay, so you can go to web tickets and you can just search for the Ommiedraai race and then you'll find it there. One of the, if I can say, incentives of doing online, we will have on the day and we will have the weekend at Kenilworth Centre.
Okay.
But one of the incentives of doing it online with web tickets is that you're going to be paying cheaper.
So you can save some money there by
Yeah.
doing it online. Web
100%.
tickets, search for Ommiedraai.
Absolutely. And also I want to say,
Jam, you're taking that. We're going to put up the link there for them. Eh?
last year we introduced something absolutely amazing, and we also we had somebody break the record at our race last year because we introduced a sub 50 medal and a sub 60 medal. So some people were quite cut up because they never got the sub 60 medal, they missed out on the sub 50. So we just want to encourage people, if you didn't get a chance last year, come back and do it this year.
You got another job. Guys, thank you so much. I believe our race director has got something special for us here. We got 2 tickets or 2 entries
Yes.
to give away to the race. Watch the Facebook page for details on how you can get an entry to the Ommiedraai race. Thank you so much for joining us,
It's a pleasure.
guys. And hope
Thank
you
you,
have you
Basil.
back
Thanks
on
for
the
the
show.
opportunity.
Thank you very much, Basil.
Thank you so much for watching. After the break, we got that bald-headed ref, so giving you the insight on our not too scalded ref. See you soon. Welcome back to the Couch Coach. So after spilling some coffee on me, thanks Mr. Ref, I had to change my shirt. Welcome back, Zaidopolis.
Thank you, Coach.
So today we're going to be chatting about new laws here. And I
Well,
believe
it's
you got a
not
goodie
new
for
laws.
us.
It's
Well,
always been
new in
there.
the school.
Yes. Okay. Today we're going on a very sensitive topic, which is foul play. Yeah,
There's
you know,
no
it happens
such
all the
thing.
time.
There's
and
no such thing.
exactly, yeah. Normally the offender is like, I did nothing, Mr. Ref, and that's the norm. But anyway, yeah, major aspect, and obviously it's a big taboo, and something that World Rugby wants to get rid of and kick out of the sport, which is foul play, like any other sport. So, yeah, there's various forms, from obstruction to unfair play, unsportsmanlike behavior. But yeah, we'll go through it, and then, yeah, we'll take it from there.
Let's go.
Okay, so just basically the principle of foul play, it's a player who commits any foul play must either be cautioned or temporarily suspended, you know, like a yellow card, or sent off for the rest of the game. The red card, the big one, yeah. So just going, as we mentioned earlier on, some of the facets. So the first form of foul play, which would be obstruction. Okay, so when a player and an opponent is running for the ball, neither player can charge or push another player. So basically, you are allowed to run shoulder to shoulder, you know, basically competing to get to the ball soonest, but you can't push the person or charge the player, you know, out of the way. And then an offside player must not intentionally obstruct an opponent or interfere with play. So if the ball is there, the ruck is there, I'm standing on this side. They often call it, you know, lazy running. Normally it's your bigger boys, the props and
The
but
forward.
yeah, that's a sensitive topic on its own. You know, because they can't get to the onside side of the line, they would just interfere, and you know, that is obviously a no-no. A player must not intentionally prevent an opponent from tackling or attempting to tackle the ball carrier. So you carrying the ball, I can't prevent another player from tackling you. Simple.
It's not gridiron.
That's not sport.
It's another topic.
Yeah, and then a player must not intentionally prevent an opponent from having the opportunity to play the ball. So maybe, except for when they're competing for possession, like at a ruck or whatever. So you can't prevent him from playing with the ball. And then you mustn't obstruct the player or in any way interfere with the player, even when the ball is dead. Because the ball goes out, you mustn't impede in him or anything to that effect. Okay, and then we come to the next form, which is unfair play. Unfair play is basically what a player must
Subject.
not do. Yeah, but you know, everyone has their own interpretation of what is fair and unfair. You know, their form of mindset. So, in a nutshell, you mustn't infringe on any law of the game. So the laws are set out by World Rugby. You mustn't infringe on any of that. And a player mustn't intentionally knock the ball, you know, out, place or throw the ball, you know, out of play, out of the playing area. So you can't intentionally, if I'm running with the ball and hypothetically time is up, I can't throw the ball out by the line just to get the game to. Okay, that is unfair. Okay, and obviously it's penalizable offence. You mustn't do anything that would make a official, a referee, or a assistant referee, or you know, all the terms call it a linesman, consider that the opposition or opponent has committed an infringement. And then also the last one, which often happens, normally when the guys get tired or they want to buy some time, is they waste time. You mustn't waste time, so you must allow the player to play as soon as possible.
That long walk to the line out.
Yeah, you know, you walk past the ball or you hypothetically just go down because you fake an injury or whatever. You know the norm. Once a mensa.
Usually the forwards.
No, I didn't say that. You said that, coach, not me. I would never say
Sorry,
that.
forwards.
Yeah, and then we go on to the next aspect, which would be repeated infringements. So a team must not repeatedly commit the same offence. So you'll see something happen. A referee blows up the player for, let's say, for example, offside. And next play, again offside, or later on again offside. It's a repeated infringement. So you mustn't do that. If they repeatedly infringe the law, okay, it's penalizable, and normally the sanction there would be a penalty against the team. When different players within the same team commit the same offence, you know, repeat offence, a referee normally issues a general warning to the team, and if it happens again, the referee temporarily suspends a yellow card to the next offending player. Doesn't matter if he didn't commit
previously, but
there was a general team
the warning got
okay.
given to the team.
Yeah, and then we come to the that's a nice point, which is the dangerous play. Yeah, and this often, I think we touched on that previously with the tackling and those type of things. So anything that's could threaten the safety of the player.
That's the studs in the back and
yeah, there's various, but anyway. So players mustn't do anything that is dangerous or reckless to the opposition or others, okay, for that matter. A player must not physically or verbally, or did I say mentally? Physically or verbally, physically or verbally abuse an opponent or anyone for that matter. You can't do that to the referee even, so don't scold the referees.
hashtag.
Yeah, physical abuse, that normally it can include just some examples: biting, punching, contact with the eye.
Was it the bullet biter? Who bit Fitzpatrick's ear?
Just I can't remember. That's before? No, it's not before my time. I can't recall, but hey, I remember it. And then you have the eye gouging, which can be catastrophic, you know, in terms of the consequences. A tackle, a high tackle, a shoulder charge, anything to that effect. Okay. Next one is a player cannot tackle the opponent early or late or dangerously. Okay, we've touched on the tackles in our previous. So anything before the player receives the ball, so that would be early. After he's passed the ball, late or dangerously, you know, high tackle or
tackling in the head.
Well, yeah. And then a player must not tackle another opponent who's not in possession of the ball. So I can't just, because the ball is coming your way, I tackle you just to get
it. It's not gridiron.
Again, yeah. As you mentioned, you can't tackle a player when he's in the air. So, or feet is off the ground in the air. So one and the same thing. And then a player must not lift an opponent from the ball and then drive him head first or upper body, you know, shoulder, that area, into the ground, making contact with the ground. That's especially that, player safety again is paramount.
No, that's dangerous.
So that is frowned upon heavily by officials and also by, it depends, it depends. So similar to our high tackles or whatever, there's again the different forms, red card, yellow card, penalty only. So it depends on the circumstances at the time. Dangerous play, even in a scrum, where our big boys are, the props and the front rankers and the locks. Okay, a front row player of a scrum must not form at a distance that its opponents will rush on them. So there's a certain, normally we call it ear to ear. So the opposing players must be, their ears basically touching there. So that's just a clear bind. Okay. A front row player must not pull opponent. So if he goes in there, you can't pull him there. And then also lastly, you mustn't intentionally lift him off his feet. So driving him upwards in an upwards direction. So that. And then we did it last week and the week before in a ruck or mall. So you get foul play in the ruck or the mall or so. So a player mustn't charge into a ruck or mall. We won't go and talk about Scott Barrett that just did that this week. So you can't charge. I think Bucky's Boot, there was one example against the British Lions a few years ago where he charged in there. Well, he got away with it at the time, but hey, it could be dangerous. It could have another effect.
So we've got less than a minute. We need to wrap this up. So just a few more. You mustn't intentionally charge or obstruct a player who's just kicked the ball, late, or obstruct him. And then where the penalty takes place, because it's penalizable, it is where the infringement takes place, where the ball lands or is next played, but not nearer than 15 meters to the touchline. Okay, and then very lastly, yellow and red cards. That's always a touchy subject. Okay, but then when a player is cautioned, he's suspended for 10 minutes. That's the yellow card. If the same player comes back on and he gets another yellow cardable offence, he's sent off for the rest of the game. And then the red card, when it is a red card offence, he gets sent off he won't take further part for the duration of the game. And that's it. There's much more we can say, but that will leave for another day. School's out. Shukran again so much, Mr. Red.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. And remember, if you have a question for the coach, email us at couchcoachcpt@gmail.com. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next week.